Welcome back, everybody. It's Amanda Ridout, health coach, and here we are with Ben Fuchs, pharmacist, and we're going to continue our talk on acne. And there's a lot of people interested, Ben, and I think we're going to talk about androgenic.
Androgenic acne. You said that perfectly.
Perfect. Take it
Andro
away.
androgenic. Andro meaning male. Androgen. Andro is the Greek prefix for male. Genesis beginning. So androgenic acne involves androgenic chemicals, androgenic systems, male-making systems. Now, don't be put off by the term male because females have an aspect to them that's masculine as well. So androgenic issues and androgens are in women as much as they're in men. Typically, we think of them as male hormones, but you don't want to be thrown off that way. We're all aspects of each on multi levels, but hormonally especially. So, or at least for acne, most significantly. You're making testosterone. A lot of your problems are because you're making testosterone as a woman. In fact, there's a specific issue that affects women that is based in testosterone that is similar, or a subclass, if you will, of androgenic acne, and I'll tell you what that is here in a second. But let's just talk about type 1 acne, androgenic acne. You know, there's 7 types of acne: androgenic, adrenal, digestive, liver, premenstrual, perimenopausal, and thyroid. Those are the 7 types of acne. 7 different biochemical breakdowns that show up as acne. The first kind, androgenic acne, is based in male hormones. Again, women make them, men make them. Not an issue. One of the cool things about the 7 different types of acne, or one of the most interesting things about the 7 different types of acne, is by looking where the zits appear, where the lesions appear, the rashes appear in the face, and the type of lesion they are will tell you which type of acne you're dealing with. So you can tell by looking what type of acne you're dealing with. And there's also some body clues that you can look for as well. I'll tell you what those are here in a second. But from the standpoint of the face, the lesions on the face, it'll be T-zone. It'll be individual zits, not rashy, but localized, little pimples. Comedones is technically what they're called, and we should probably have a little discussion on what comedones are. We'll do that here in a second. Okay. Your standard variety pimple, and it'll appear in the T-zone. This will also appear in a body type that is, if not thinning hair or high hairline, heading in that direction, lean and muscular. Let's see, what other features? Not very aggressive, but type A personality type, driven kind of things. These are all signs of testosterone, of androgens. That's the feature. That's the iconic androgen, although there's many androgens. Testosterone is the iconic one, and it's breakdown product, and we'll get to that in a second. But I just want to get to the point. I want to get the point across that you can tell by looking. It will involve individual zits, and that will be in the T-zone. Okay. Sometimes there'll be bacterial involvement. If there's bacterial involvement, then you'll get a big zit. If there's no bacterial involvement, you'll get a whitehead or a blackhead.
Okay.
Whiteheads and blackheads are no bacteria. Blackheads and whiteheads are very similar. Blackheads have been oxidized, and the whitehead has not been oxidized. That's the only difference. If you have bacterial involvement, that's when you get your pimple, your standard pimple. All right, so it's got two factors here. You got your male hormones, and then you have a very interesting factor that is a male hormone-like substance. I'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about male hormone first. Male hormone is testosterone. Now, testosterone isn't really the problem as much as something called DH testosterone, dihydrotestosterone, or DHT. That's really the bad guy when it comes to acne. Testosterone is a growth hormone. DHT is a super growth hormone. Okay. Testosterone is a growth hormone. DHT is testosterone on steroids, if I can use that phrase, talking about testosterone, right? It's like testosterone for testosterone.
Okay.
Right? That makes it mega important, potent, and problematic. All right? It's very, very important. Surges of it are important for growth because it's super high powered, but it's also problematic. It tends to be produced in high concentrations under certain nutritional deficiency conditions, and inhibiting DHT is job number 1 for androgenic acne. And using nutrients to do it, I'll tell you what those are in a second. But first, let me tell you the second cause of androgenic acne. The first cause is this testosterone, and it usually appears in a high testosterone producer, athletes. For example, muscular, wiry, lean, tall. long, narrow features, thinning hair, or not a lot of hair, high hairline. You can always tell by looking. Long digits, long fingers, toes, like long
Okay.
kind of things. You know what I'm
So
talking about?
growth has been going on
Yes,
a
lots
lot.
of growth. Exactly.
Okay.
Lots of growth. Lots of growth. Okay. Now, the second important factor in androgenic acne is androgen mimicker, one particular androgen mimicker. And I say mimicker, that's probably not the right word, but it has a lot of androgenic-like effects.
Okay.
It's called insulin. Exactly, exactly. Insulin and its cousin, insulin-like growth factor, IGF-1, is another bad guy in androgenic acne because insulin tells the body to grow in a fashion similar to testosterone. See, this growth issue is very important to recognize. Acne is a hyper-proliferative issue. So what does that mean? You tell me.
Hyper,
a
lot, fast.
Correct. Proliferative
means it's duplicating.
Exactly. This is a fundamental way the body. Very good.
Good thing I know Latin
Very
and
good.
Spanish.
That's good. Is it Spanish? Proliferar or something?
Yeah, proliferar is to.
Yeah. Proliferate.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
proliferate, to grow.
Yeah.
So hyperproliferation is a classic way that the body breaks down. You've heard us say all disease is cell disease, right? You've heard that phrase? I always say all disease is cell disease. Acne, androgenic acne, is a hyperproliferative disease of the cell. The cell's dividing too rapidly.
Okay.
The cell's dividing out of control. In acne, you have these little holes in your face, these cavities in your face. They're called pores, okay? And they're follicles, and they're where hair comes out of. And they're these little openings in your skin, in the surface of your skin. And they're important. Gases come out, and it's important to have these. They're openings into the body. But what happens is, because the activity on these pores is they're so dynamic, because they're always breaking down and always building up. We're always saying how the skin breaks down and builds up really fast. It really happens at the pores very, very, very rapidly, because there's not a lot of cells there. So they turn over really, really quickly. There's not a lot of thickness there. So they're constantly being broken down and being repaired. So under conditions of growth, hypergrowth, out of control growth, a lack of nutrients that stabilize growth, you get a hyperproliferative condition where cells divide really rapidly inside the cavity. That is acne. That's androgenic acne.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it's a hyperproliferative condition. Cells are growing out of control under the regulation of testosterone and testosterone's testosterone, DHT, right? And insulin-like growth factor. Okay. IGF-1, they'll call it. Okay? Those are the two main bad guys when it comes to androgenic acne. All right? So strategies to keep DHT down to a minimum, and strategies to keep insulin down to a minimum, or to regulate the processing of insulin and to regulate the processing of androgens, testosterone, specifically into DHT. That's the way you handle acne. Now, interestingly, DHT is also the bad guy in male pattern baldness, alopecia, and it's all androgenic alopecia, technically. Androgenic acne, androgenic alopecia, baldness, it means. And then in prostate disease, which of course is a male issue as well. So interestingly, there's a drug called finasteride, which also goes by the name Proscar. Proscar is a drug made by Merck Sharp and Dohme for male prostate disorder. It is a DHT inhibitor. It blocks DHT, it blocks the production of DHT. And so by blocking the production of DHT, it stabilizes or slows down the growth of cells in the prostate. But Merck Sharp and Dohme noticed that when people took Proscar, guys would grow hair on their head.
Oh.
And they were like, oh my God, because this is the holy grail, you know? After Viagra, first came Viagra, that was the holy grail for a long time. Now it's male pattern baldness.
Right.
So anyway, but it doesn't really grow hair. It grows a little peach fuzz.
Okay.
But anyway, the point is that their strategy was DHT inhibition, and there are actually doctors who will use finasteride for treating male androgenic acne sometimes. But finasteride it's a drug, it's got toxicity.
Oh, I bet you the side effects are worse than anything it can do to you.
Dysfunction and prostate cancer and mental diseases.
Okay, everybody, you need to hear that. That's not the way to go.
Do it. No.
Yeah.
There's another drug that doctors will give. It's called spironolactone. Have you heard of spironolactone?
Yeah.
Spironolactone is a blood pressure drug, but it turns out that it's got anti-androgenic properties. So it slows down the production of male hormones. Another pharmacological, really antiquated, old school pharmacological intervention for dealing with acne. Old days, by the way, they used to call acne skin diabetes.
Huh.
Now they were referring to this type of acne, skin diabetes, because they noticed that there was a relationship, interestingly, between anti-diabetic medicine and improving acne. They noticed that when they gave, and in fact, in the 60s, that was one of the strategies for dealing with acne, was to use anti-diabetic medicine or diabetes medicine,
Okay.
drugs that help the body handle sugar,
Right.
insulin-supporting drugs. So in any case, but you don't need prescription drugs, and they come with a whole list of side effects. So a couple of interesting things about insulin and acne. There's a condition that affects women that we should probably do a video just on. It's called PCOS. Have you heard of PCOS?
I've heard that.
PCOS is an insulin, androgen, estrogen issue. But it starts off with insulin and androgens. It's androgenic acne gone crazy in a woman.
Okay.
It's androgenic acne gone nuts in a woman. It's caused by problems with insulin, problems with their male hormones. Remember, women are making male hormones, and when they get proliferation of cells in their ovaries, they end up with cysts in the ovaries. It's called polycystic ovarian syndrome. Ovarian tissue produces male hormones, or produces female hormones, I should say. So the male hormones, their high levels of androgens and their high levels of insulin, cause a hyperproliferative condition of the ovaries, which then in turn produce lots of female hormones. Okay. So you end up with this condition where women have high androgens, so they'll end up with acne and hirsutism, the body hair.
They start balding also?
They'll start balding.
Yep.
But they'll also have conditions of high estrogen, PMS.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. They can't lose weight, PMS. This is a very horrible condition. You've got a woman who can't lose weight, who's fatigued all the time, who's got PMS, who's got, check this out, oily skin, breaking out, thinning hair. And she's got a mustache.
It's the worst of both worlds.
Yes, exactly. It's a horrible thing. It's a horror. Right. And
Okay.
doctors don't know what to do. Doctors don't know what to do, but I'm telling you what to do.
Yeah.
You work on the insulin.
Okay.
You work on and then you work on the testosterone. You handle it like androgenic acne is basically what you do. And then you slow down the growth of the cysts. Cysts are usually, anywhere in the body, cysts and estrogen go together. So in order to take care of the estrogenic things, you want estrogenic symptoms, you got to reduce the cysts. The way you reduce the cysts is you address the androgens and the sugar, the male hormone and the sugar. So how do you do it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, androgens, testosterone is made in the gonads, the reproductive glands, and the adrenal glands. And it's going to be important because when we talk about type 2 acne, there's a relationship between androgens and adrenal acne. Not only that, but the fact that you have testosterone that's made in the adrenal glands and testosterone that's made in the gonads tells you that it's a growth issue. It's a reproductive issue. That's why teenage boys get it typically, or teenagers get it, because they're getting a surge in these growth hormones. A surge in because that's a period of sexual development, so it's associated with sexual development. Yeah. However, skin cells also make testosterone. Skin cells also make androgens. Skin cells also work with insulin. So you can have skin cells right there in the follicle, and they're producing DHT. And they're producing high levels of, or they're responding to insulin and insulin-like growth factors. So you've got testosterone and insulin effects in the cell area, in the adrenal glands, and in the gonads. So what do you do? Okay, well, there's two main strategies. Number one, DHT inhibition is the most important, is DHT inhibition. And the most important nutrient there's two ways to do it, topically and internally. Internally, the most important nutrient for DHT inhibition is zinc. Okay. By far. In fact, 50 milligrams of zinc is a must-have. You can induce acne by taking zinc out of the diet if you're predisposed. Zinc deficiency is tragic, number one, because it's so cheap to supplement with zinc. It's like $3 for 3 months supply.
Yeah, it is very cheap.
It's ridiculously cheap, okay? And it's depleted out of the soil. It's one of the major minerals that's depleted out of the soil. It's deficient, even if it was in the soil, you don't even know how much zinc you're getting when you eat a food. So it's crazy not to supplement with zinc, yet zinc deficiency is very common. Zinc is your go-to for dealing with androgenic acne. Zinc, interestingly, is also important for sugar control, so you'll get some insulin benefits there too. Insulin and zinc go together as well, so you'll support your insulin. But we'll talk about that here in a second. Other important internal nutrients, there's a bunch of topical nutrients, but other internal nutrients, omega-3 fatty acids are important. Turmeric, the herb turmeric is important. You can make your own turmeric tea. Turmeric can also be used topically as well. What else? What other good ones? Oh, MCT oils, coconut oil can be helpful.
Okay.
MCT oil, coconut oil, omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, zinc. Let's see what else. For DHT inhibition, vitamin A for DHT inhibition. Oh, you know what? One of the best DHT inhibitors is something called beta-cytosterol. I love beta-cytosterol. Beta-cytosterol is great for prostate issues. If you have any, for guys who are going to the bathroom in the middle of the night, I think they get to be in their 40s and 50s, guys will go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. Beta-cytosterol, 330 milligrams, because it helps stabilize the cells of the prostate. It keeps the prostate cells from getting inflamed. Same benefits will occur on the skin for androgenic acne. You'll help stabilize cell growth in the follicle, and you can help improve androgenic acne using 330 milligrams of beta-cytosterol. Saw palmetto can be an effective DHT inhibitor. In fact, saw palmetto is also used for prostate disease. Topically, azelaic acid, zinc, especially the form of zinc called zinc PCA, alpha hydroxy acids, turmeric. There's omega-3 fatty acids in general, omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids in general, but also specifically something called GLA.
Yes.
GLA is an omega-6 fatty acid that has some very interesting anti-inflammatory properties, topical GLA. And in terms of MCT oils, you can eat coconut oil, which is the best source of MCT oils. It's 60% MCT oils. We haven't talked about MCT oils. We maybe should someday.
No, we haven't on our interviews. We haven't.
MCT oils are amazing. Okay. Coconut oil internally, but coconut oil topically can be used as well. And then there's normalizers, things that then there's the whole insulin issue. You want to dairy, by the way, is a big source of IGF-1. So dairy is a major relationship between dairy and androgenic acne. Okay. I'd be laying off of dairy if I had androgenic acne. Even if
it's the Greek yogurt and fermented, just lay off of it?
You want to make sure there's no IGF-1 in there, and I don't know how you would make sure of that.
Okay.
So just lay off it, see how you do. Dairy plays another role in acne, in a different type of acne, which is digestive acne, which we'll talk about later.
Okay.
But as far as IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor, dairy is a source. Anything that messes up insulin should be avoided. And using insulin-stabilizing nutrients, the sweeties from Youngevity, chromium, vanadium.
Those are amazing.
Amazing. You had a great story about your migraines.
Yeah, I get migraines. I've had them my whole life, even as a kid, and it wasn't until the last couple of months that I actually realized sugar spiked some of my migraines. And I realized it because I started taking sweeties for some reason, and I noticed how some of my migraines would be cut if I took the sweeties. It just shocked me. And so I was telling you just yesterday, I was coming off of a migraine, I was feeling great, and I ate a pear. A pear.
And you would think it's delicious,
well,
it's healthy.
I was like, a pear, I need a pear, I need my live foods, whatever. And bam, in 5 minutes, I started triggering that migraine. And so
that's so true. That's a great story, actually, because we have this idea that a pear is benign and it's, it can't really do anything. It's just good for you and it's live food and all that. And there are probably some good things in pears. Certainly, most of the good stuff is in the peel and the rind, though, not in the sugary part. The peel is bitter. The peel's not sweet.
No, it's not.
The peel's bitter. That's the good stuff. The rind and the peel. The inside, the sugar, that's the part that's supposed to feed the seed later on. But we have genetically modified them to have way more sugar than just for the seed. Sugar for our taste buds. So you got to be very careful with fruit, especially for androgenic acne. This is the diet connection, by the way.
And grains.
And grains too.
People don't make the connection. All grains.
Absolutely. Now this is the diet connection that's been poo-pooed. Okay, you know how they poo-poo the diet connection? This is the diet connection. The insulin and insulin growth factor relationship to androgenic acne. This is where diet plays a huge, huge role. Now, there's also a dietary role in the digestive acne, but we'll talk about that in a second. But for androgenic acne, this is, when we talk about IGF and IGF-1, this is what we mean when we talk about food and acne. All right? This is the dietary connection. any case, using the B complex is very important. All the B complex is always going to be important for all skin issues, but especially for hyperproliferative skin issues and especially for ones that involve sugar and insulin, because the B vitamins are sugar metabolizing. And
Okay.
B vitamin deficiency is very common. So supplementing with the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, liquid sources of B vitamins is a good idea.
The de-stress is the whole strain of bees.
I'm not familiar with the D-stress.
Okay. All
I
right.
can't speak to that. But I know the Beyond Tangy
Yes.
Tangerine is packed with the B complex. And then there's normalizers, vitamin A and C. Retinol retinol is very nice because it has a nice normalizing effect. It'll slow down cell growth, or if it can speed up cell growth, and that's one of the reasons why it's good for anti-aging.
Topically.
Topical retinol, especially topical retinol and vitamin C. Topical vitamin C can also have some nice benefits, antioxidant benefits, stabilizing benefits, and also we talked about azelaic acid. Azelaic acid is specifically important for androgenic acne, but azelaic acid also has general exfoliating effects, nice exfoliating benefits. It has, I should say, it's a DHT inhibitor, azelaic acid. But in addition to being a DHT inhibitor, it's also an exfoliating agent. And exfoliation is kind of a strategy that you can use for all hyperproliferative conditions, be they psoriasis or be they acne or any other topical growth condition. You can help remove dead cells, and you can speed up the turnover of cells, so you can encourage the development of more presumably healthy cells if you're taking care of yourself anyway. So using alpha hydroxy acids, lactic acid, beta hydroxy acid, salicylic acid, or azelaic acid, topically, those can also help too.
So for somebody to easily find that on hand, they can do the apple cider vinegar.
Apple cider vinegar, wine, red wine, lemon juice. Serious, red wine, lemon juice. You could use orange juice. That's a little bit too sticky, maybe too much sugar in there. But lemon juice will work. Lime juice, anything citrus, kiwi. Go get some vitamin C powder. Vitamin C powder. Make a vitamin C powder toner. You really won't get a lot of vitamin C benefits. You might get a little bit, but you won't get a lot. But what you will get is some nice exfoliating benefits. Vitamin C is a great exfoliator.
Okay. Yeah. And I have some powder, so I think I'm going to use that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So it boils down, type 1 acne, androgenic acne that either women or men can have, boils down to diet. So because
there's two main control points: male hormone, and then male hormone on steroids, if you will, and then sugar or insulin and insulin growth factor, which are, of course, are a result of excess sugar. Protein can change insulin and insulin growth factor a little bit too. So, but it's mostly a sugar issue.
So somebody who's doing, like these kids in sports at school, they are pushed beyond anything any human being.
Zinc. They need zinc more than anybody.
Okay.
And vitamin A. They need nutrients. It's very unfortunate, those kids, because the human body is very forgiving, and so they're getting by on just pure livingness and chi and life force and life energy. But they're really running high risks of nutritional deficiency if they're not drinking Beyond Tangy Tangerine, when they come home, or getting on a nutritional supplement program. Football teams, all football teams, high school football teams, should be using the BTT. I don't know why they're not. It's crazy. It's crazy not to use the BTT during practices or during games or any for athletic performance. It's really, in my opinion, it's crazy. But especially when you come home. So nutritional deficiencies are very common, and kids are going through growth spurts, so they're very prone to nutritional deficiencies. So we don't want to be entranced by their amazing life force and ability to withstand nutritional deficiencies and abuses and assaults to the body. That's a great thing, but we don't want to take advantage of it or exploit it, because you never know when you reach the tipping point.
Okay. So next time we talk, we're going to talk
about the adrenal.
Adrenal. I guess can we call it adrenal acne?
Yes, adrenal acne is androgenic acne, with a steroidal involvement. And it's androgenic acne with extra steroids. That's the adrenal steroids. And that's a whole different. That's like androgenic acne, but it's even more intense, a more intense version.
So for people with androgenic acne, definitely they have to nutrify themselves. They have to watch their insulin intake.
Insulin intake,
no, sugar intake.
And in the case of dairy, because dairy tends to have high levels of IGF-1, watch out for dairy. That's a big culprit, the IGF-1.
All right, wonderful. Well, that is great information. I know the people listening to these interviews are going to love this, and they're going to be waiting for the next one. And remember, everybody, there's seven. So we will be doing one interview for each acne problem or acne type. Well, thank you, Ben. Once
Thank
again,
you.
thank you so much for all your knowledge, and until next week.